Hey everybody, it's Amanda again. I wanted to do a quick, maybe not so quick, recording about channeling because I've had a few people ask me how to channel and who I channel and all that kind of stuff. So just a quick background on all the stuff that sort of led me to channeling, which I never ever thought I would do. I didn't even really know that much about it. Anyway, really I just wanted to be a psychic. And I didn't think that I had a psychic bone in my body. Or rather, I guess I knew that I did, but I've sort of blocked it my whole life. Because, I don't know, I remember being terrified to see a ghost when I was little. And just like, no, I'm blocking that. I will not see anything that's going to frighten me as a child. And I just shut it off, and I left it off for a long time. And so then when I decided I wanted to be a psychic, it was like, how do I turn it back on? So I started studying a bunch, and I remember seeing Pam Coronado on some TV show, Psychic Detective or something, I don't know, and she was always so good and so spot on with stuff and so specific, because on a lot of those TV shows I would get irritated because the psychic would say, oh, the missing person is by trees and there's water, or something. Like, there's trees and water so many places. That's not really helpful. I want somebody who's going to say, the missing child is at 123 Main Street in this town, and he's in the upper back left room, and, he'll be there for the next 3 hours or something. Like give me some helpful information so the police can drive to the place, get the missing child. And I wanted to be able to do that. I wanted to be able to give really, not only be psychic, but give like really helpful information, which I still not sure that I can do. Anyway, so that was the first thing. I think Pam Coronado had a little PDF course on how to be psychic where you could practice. She had different exercises, which was really cool, and she's very responsive or she was back then. I think she's got a Facebook page, and I think she's still very responsive on there. But anyway, so that's what started it, and I, told my friends I was practicing and to give me things to practice with, so they would send me like, okay, my kid's going on a field trip today. Where are they going? And, like, oh, I can't find my ring. What did I do with it? And my dog's missing. Where's my dog? And so I had lots of practice. And the good thing about that is, even if you get it completely wrong, you get feedback after the fact that helps you figure out why you went wrong. So that was just stage one. The second part of that was I discovered remote viewing and just studied everything that I could about it. Every YouTube video online about how to do it and how to practice, and I practiced, and I think Daz Smith has a website where he has a bunch of targets that you can practice with, and I realized the problem with being psychic or trying to be psychic before you study remote viewing is that you don't realize maybe that your brain is always going to try to analyze any information that you get. And we're so used to just in everyday life, you look at something and you figure out what it is. I mean, your perception is everything. So what I realized is I was, when I started practicing remote viewing, is I was trying to analyze everything before I had all the information. For example, like one of the first targets I did was a mountain peak with snow on it and a cloud, floated, sort of on the top area. And so I drew the shapes. I had like a cone shape, and I knew there was something on top of it, and I knew there was this like white fluffy thing, and my mind interpreted it as an ice cream cone. Well, I got all the shapes right and everything, and the colors, and it was cold. I got the cold part right, but I didn't, the mountain was upside down in my vision, in trying to make it into something that would make sense as pointy and cold and fluffy. And, my brain said, oh, it's got to be an ice cream cone. And it wasn't. It was a mountain. It was not even I didn't have it oriented right even. So the thing about, it's all about like how to receive the information without analyzing it right away. To just sort of let it come in, even if it doesn't make sense to you, until you have more and more pieces of the picture and then try to put everything together. And even then, today, I still say, well, it looks like this, but I don't know what that is. Or it's, well, I'm seeing this, but I don't know what that means. And you just have to do that, because you can't just make assumptions about what something is, because you could get it wrong and say it's an ice cream cone when really it's a mountain with a cloud on top. So remote viewing, studying that was really important for me. The other thing it taught me was to be able to describe things really well. To get, like, you study, is it cold, hot, is it hard, soft, smushy, wet, dry, hot. I think I already said that. Anyway, you get these descriptors. So one thing you can do is you can practice. I got this, somebody taught this, I can't remember who. It was probably that Dr. Doom guy, about the kill shot guy. Anyway, don't listen to that. I don't think we're on that timeline anymore. Anyway, so what you do is you just go around, and if you see something like, a filing cabinet, hard, flat, cold, metal, you just describe stuff. Describe your sink, describe your toothbrush, just start in your mind just describing things. So you get used to, if you get a piece of information, you can describe it. You can say how it is on the most basic level, and then start adding details to it. So that was a really useful thing. And I bought this book called Remote Viewing, The Complete User's Manual for Coordinate Remote Viewing by David Morehouse, PhD. I think it came with a not a DVD, an audio CD for, I can't remember what, I don't know. I don't have the thing here, but what I do is I listen to theta wave entrainment music. I just have one that I listen to on YouTube over and over again because I'm used to it. But it entrains your brain waves to go into that sort of state you need to be able to shut out everything else and just receive the information. It helps if you don't have a bunch of distractions. I mean, I know I've got 3 kids, but I've always had them here, and I've had to learn how to do it with them here. So, but when you start out, it might be better if you had some peace and quiet. Another thing you can do, I have a friend who's a medium, and I'm not even sure she realizes she's doing this, but she's always fidgeting with something. She's always messing with her phone, and she's listening to everything that you say, and she's taking it in. But she's always, like keeping busy. And you can do that as a technique to keep your conscious mind focused on something, so your sub and superconscious can access this information without interference from your ego and without analyzing. That's another thing that remote viewing talks about, is analytical overlay. So, if you're trying to get basic information about the filing cabinet, which is, hard, flat, shiny, gray, cold, you don't want filing cabinet. You don't want filing cabinet yet. You're trying to get the basics. You don't want to analyze what those things are. Is it rectangular? Don't assume right away. And if you do that, that's analytical overlay. You got to get all the information first. Get all the first level information first. So that's how I started practicing, is trying to get the basic stuff first. And then once I had practiced that for a while, and I did the psychic exercises for a while, and this is over years, and I didn't do it constantly, but I have such an interest in it that I just kept coming back to it. And then finally, it seems like there was something else, but I can't remember. Something else. Oh, hypnosis. Duh. My whole profession. The hypnosis, learning hypnosis, how to put people into that deep state of attention and focus on one thing and shutting up the chatter. I mean, it's easy to do for people, believe it or not, because, you watch TV and, or when you're at a movie or something, if you're one of those people that gets really so focused on a show that you like or a movie that you like that you don't know what's going on around you, and like you're so into the movie that you're in it, like you laugh, you cry, you're a part of it, then I think you're really one that would be one who could go into hypnosis easily, and one who could probably channel easily, because you're able to shut all that other stuff out. And if you're not one of those people, if you're at the movie and you hear the person chewing popcorn beside you or behind you and it's so irritating, it's not that you can't be hypnotized or channel. It's just going to take some practice to practice getting into that state. Once you can get into that state and you know what it feels like, then it's not so hard to get back into it. So, and it's just, everybody has been in that state. It's the state you're in right before you fall asleep. Everybody can do it. It just, sometimes you need something to focus on or somebody to guide you to get to that spot. And then once you're in that spot, it's not hard to get to again. And sometimes it just takes somebody that you trust, because, people really think hypnosis is some kind of mind control, or, if you're in this state, then it's a vulnerable state and you could get, messed with, or, you need protection. And none of that has been true for me. I knew everything I was doing in every single hypnosis session I've ever been in. And if somebody told me to smile and I didn't feel like smiling, I wouldn't do it. If somebody says, lift your hand in the air, and you don't feel like lifting your hand in the air, then you won't do it. You can't make somebody do something they wouldn't do anyway. Anyway, so off topic a little, but then finally a friend of mine had bought a book called Opening to Channel, which I mentioned in the comments of one of my videos, and I can't remember who wrote it. I think it came out in the 80s. And I asked if I could borrow it, and I read it, and I tried the exercises, and you just have to, if you're not getting anything, try using your imagination. I know that it seems like you're making it up, but it's just practicing, really. You're just practicing getting into this receptive state where you would be okay with getting something at that point. And then once you open up that little doorway of, I'm okay with some kind of interaction here, and then I just practice like once a week. I would just sit, put myself into like a hypnotic state, because I knew what that felt like. And at first I had I had a visual of a person and a name. And so I would just talk to that person, right? It's like you close your eyes and you're having a conversation with somebody. And then later on, if I had more sciencey or technical questions, then this other guy showed up. And he always seemed a little distracted, like he was working on a computer or something. And he would answer me, but he was always sort of doing something else. And he had a name. And then eventually, I couldn't get a visual on them anymore. Like I'd go into state and I'm like, where are my people? I can't channel if I don't have my people here. And they're like, no, we're still here. We just want you to know that you don't need the visual anymore, because that's not really us anyway. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's evolved, and it keeps evolving. And as far as who I channel, all I can say is you sort of have access to the collective superconscious. I don't think it's not just here. It's not just the superconscious of people on Earth. It's everywhere. Every being, all time periods, backwards and forwards, I think. And then if you have, depending on the question, depending on how you feel that day, and depending on who's asking the question, you're going to get the group of consciousnesses out of that collective that are going to be best suited to answer that question. So I have told people that I do channel the Arcturians, because once I was asking for some advice about my daughter, and they gave me advice, and I said, well, if I tell her that, she's going to say, well, how do you know, Mom? And they said, you tell her the Arcturians said so. And that's the only time until then, up to that point, I'd ever had anybody give me like who they were, tell me who they were, except for in the beginning when I had Ananda and David. So anyway, it's just, I do feel like it it resonates. A lot of my messages resonate and sound the same and have similar word choices as other people who channel Arcturians. So I'm going to say a lot of the time I get Arcturians. But when I ask them, when I say, all right, who are you? Who have I got now? Then it'll be different people at different times. And sometimes if I'm channeling for one person, the group that comes through are funny and they'll tell jokes and they'll laugh. And so I really do think, and I know of a group of people, if you were going to channel the collective of Earth, you've got some groups of really funny people, and then you've got groups of more sciencey people, and then you've got groups of more technical people or more education-related people. It's just the nature of beings that maybe your experiences have given you more of an edge in one thing or another. So as far as who I channel, it's just who needs to come through. But I will say that part of my getting into state is connecting with the feeling of unconditional love that I felt, or getting as close to it as I can, of that feeling where I was asking about the event and what it would feel like, and that feeling that they let me feel. And I try to tap into that because I want to only channel information for the highest good of everyone. I don't want to, I don't need to channel, I don't know, anything negative. I don't like anything negative. So, I don't know if I covered everything I wanted to. I didn't write down any notes or anything. I'm just going off the top of my head. But that's it pretty much. Pam Coronado, lots of videos on YouTube about being psychic and, what resonated with me and what made sense and what went along with my experiences. Because everybody's going to have different people that resonate with them because we all have different gifts and we're all coming at it from a different perspective and we all fit together in a whole big piece. So your piece is not going to look exactly like my piece. And if this is something if channeling is something you want to do, if you want your own guidance or you want your own answers and you want to be able to do that, I 100% believe everybody who is alive can do that right now if they want to. It's just a matter of how bad do you want it? How much do you want to practice? Don't make it something that you hate doing. Like I only channeled once a week because I didn't think I'd wanted to do it more than that. Like if somebody told me channel every day and you'll be able to do it, no, I wouldn't want to do it. So start with whatever sounds fun to you. Watching Pam on the show and then finding that little course, that was fun for me. That was really fun. So follow what's fun for you, and if that's the path you're meant to be on, you will. It's going to show up whether you want to or not. Like I said, I didn't have any idea about channeling. I didn't know that was going to be a thing. And I venture to say most channelers didn't know that either. They weren't trying to be a channel. The path just led there. So, but anybody can do it. Just takes practice and making sure you don't analyze too much before you get all the info. Oh, the other thing that they did at first was that if you'll notice in my channeling videos, I will sometimes give like 3 or 4 words and then pause in the beginning. And that is so that I don't analyze, because they will only give me, in the beginning they gave me like 2 words. And if I didn't say those 2 words out loud, they would not give me the next 2 words, because they didn't want me to be able to try to figure out what they were going to say and fill in the blanks for them, because I hadn't been at the state yet where I could tell whether that's really what they were trying to say or not. So sometimes you'll hear me say 4 or 5 words and then pause, or a sentence and then pause in the beginning, and then by the end of it I'm talking pretty constantly. So if you need to do that, if you need to get 1 word, just sit there and wait for them to say 1 word and write down that 1 word, or type that 1 word, or say that 1 word into a recorder. And don't worry, don't try to analyze anything. It's like a free association. Say whatever pops into your head. So if they say blue, you say blue out loud. And then if they say tree, you don't go, why are they talking about blue trees? You just say tree, you know? So that's my take. That's how I've been doing it. And try not to get too caught up with, now I do at times when I've had to channel for other people and they say something and I'm like in my head, I am not telling them that. I'm not going to say that out loud because I'm afraid it's going to hurt their feelings or something. So sometimes I do try to, I don't want to say anything negative to people, but most of the time if they say something like that, then they explain what they mean right after that. So even if to me it sounds like something bad, usually to the person I'm channeling for, they're like, oh no, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So trust what they give you as long as it feels good and positive. And I'm not talking about, like saying something that I think will hurt their feelings. I'm talking about, any entities that say you should go out and kill everybody. Like obviously that's not good. You don't want to do that. So common sense 101. Anyway, okay, I think that's all I've got. If you have any questions about any of that, just let me know. The remote viewing book is just called Remote Viewing, David Morehouse, and then Pam Coronado, she's got Facebook, and I think it's just pamcoronado.com as her website. Any hypnosis course, check the reviews and stuff. And opening to channel, that was kind of my path that led me here. And practice. I've been practicing for 3 years now, weekly or twice a week. And really, you feel much better after you've channeled, so because you've connected in with yourself and with everything. When you're connected to everything, then you feel much better. So anyway, blah blah, 22 minutes. Gotta probably be a record-breaking length for my videos. Anyway, okay, so y'all have a beautiful day. Hope everybody's doing well, and if you have any questions or you guys want to talk about anything, just talk on and I'll chat with you in the comments. Much love. Bye.